Hello and welcome back to the KenOhWee Channel. My apologies for taking some time, but after this, I'll be shifting my focus on the figures Banter and Beast Kingdom sent to me. So if you're new to the channel, this video was made with the intention of comparing two figures of the same character from two prominent action figure lines to help out those who can't afford to get both of them. That's why I'm using whatever remaining resources I have left for videos like this.
Sorry, I ain't got no money, I'm not trying to be funny.
And if it helps any of you in any way, then it's all worth it. And today we'll be talking about the Man of Steel, Superman from the Justice League movie. And we have the figures from the two giant companies from Japan. It's like Samsung versus Apple. It's the S.H Figuarts Superman action figure from Bandai and Mafex Superman action figure from Medicom Toys. And there's been a lot of support on the Mafex figure, so it'll be interesting to see how they fare against each other. But before we begin, I'd like to highlight that anything said beyond this point is based purely on my humble opinion. So without further ado, let's start talking about the box. What? No? Fine, both your boxes need more creativity anyways. Likeness. Well, it's safe to say that none of these figures managed to capture Henry Cavill's likeness. I mean, carving his face or Gal Gadot's face accurately would be a sculpting achievement, and you deserve an award if you succeeded. But that's not present in either of these two figures. But I'd say S.H Figuarts probably has it closer than Mafex. But that's only because S.H Figuarts' face doesn't look like a man trying to steal your candy. The gentleness in S.H.F's face is what the character represents, and it would help the Mafex figure a lot more if it would just unclench his eyebrows. In fact, the older Mafex figure had a better face sculpt, but sadly is non-interchangeable and the skin tones doesn't match, so we're stuck with Grumpy here. As for the suit itself, well, both of them missed out on the airbrush look. As for muscle proportion, I think both these figures are fairly muscular. Both have big arms. S.H.F has a more defined six-pack and both didn't miss out on leg days. But S.H Figuarts definitely bench pressed a little bit more than Mafex. I mean, you could see it in their chest. That straight line on the chest on S.H.F figure definitely brought more depth to the chest muscles, which makes Mafex look a little flat. And another thing that totally missed my radar but was brought up by a viewer is the length of their cape. So S.H.F cape is actually much longer and it's really long in comparison to the Mafex figure. I mean, didn't you learn anything from the Incredibles movie?
No capes. His cape snagged on a missile pin. Cape caught in a jet turbine. No capes.
Oh, I guess I couldn't relate that to this. It's long enough for Superman to trip on it, and that wouldn't look so super now, wouldn't it? Ho 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 ho. Stupid flying man. Figure design. I'll only highlight the cons on these figures or we'll be here all day talking about the pros as well. So starting with Mafex. Comparing them side by side, I think the skin tone on the Mafex figure is a little too light. At this point, he can pull off looking like Bizarro if you're able to mirror the symbol. And the biggest thing that bugs me about this figure, and I like to note that it could only be on my figure, which is unfortunate, is the toe stability. This, like the previous Mafex figure, has really loose toe articulation, which makes him really difficult to stand, let alone do an action pose, and it annoys the hell out of me. Also, something to note, this wire right here seems to want to come out and see the world, which can be dangerous if you're not looking, and I hope it's just my figure that has this issue, but I thought I'd let all of you know, just in case. I've mentioned the grumpy look already, so no need to elaborate any further. As for the S.H Figuarts, apart from him being slightly on the shorter side, the other issue that's really distracting to me, and apparently it's not just me, is the length of his neck. I think they sculpted it a little too thin, which makes it look like a giraffe, so it's not in proportion with the rest of the body. If anything, it looks like the head is trying to run away from the body, like two opposite ends of a magnet. So to sum it all up, definitely not the most accurate figures in terms of face sculpt, and both have their pros and cons. Either you take a chance on possibly having a stable toe on the Mafex figure but accept his Snow White skin tone and grumpy look, or you could have a more stable figure in the S.H Figuarts but you'd have to accept his skinny long neck. personally, I picked the S.H Figuarts solely on the fact that it's more stable and I like the muscularity on the figure, and I'll use the long cape to cover up his long neck. Articulation. Moving towards my favorite portion of the video, and this portion of the video is another way of presenting the articulation of these figures without having to talk about them again. So presenting to you the cheerleaders challenge. Look up there in the sky, the superhero pose, the Tony Stark landing, the winning Mr. Olympia. Look ma, I can touch my toes pose, the Dark Knight pose. I'm also a mermaid pose, the thinker pose, super sexy man pose, super cute man pose, the super crotch breaker, the super crotch splitter, the super ab exercise, my mom's Martha 2 pose. I clearly ran out of idea for posing names. Accessories. Mafex comes with a whole lot more than the SHF package, face and hands. Mafex has 4 pairs of interchangeable hands and 3 interchangeable heads, while SHF has 3 pairs of hands and 2 interchangeable heads. So focusing on the interchangeable heads for Mafex, as mentioned in my previous review, the Mafex head accessories is like a phase progression of someone who just took a big whiff of a wet, hot fart.
This is the face he comes equipped with, and is the face where he hears the sound of the fart, then moving on to where he took a big whiff of the fart, and the last is the brain interpreting what the smell is, and the facial muscles tighten up with horror, and that is probably why he is this pale, because he just died on the inside.
And I still stand by it till this day. I mean, if they just painted the eyes red for this face, it would have pulled off as being the heat vision head, but we just have a grumpy look in 3 different forms. Meanwhile, over at SHF, his interchangeable head is the heat vision head, where you have some red shades on his face to indicate that it's reflecting the light from his heat vision, which I thought looked ridiculous at first, but it actually grew on me, especially after taking this photo. It actually looks pretty good, though I would have hoped SHF came with a heat vision blast effect to accompany that head, but sadly, no such luck. Availability. Mafex is a general release coming in at around $80, while SHF is a Tamashii exclusive coming in at $60. So even though SHF is slightly cheaper, it is harder to get since he is an exclusive. Scale. And here is their scale comparison, standing next to other figures from other action figure lines. So, in summary, on paper, Mafex would be listed as the better figure. Easier availability due to it being a general release, slightly better posability especially in the ab crunch and bicep twist, and a lot more accessories than SHF, so Mafex edges over the SH figure once again. However, for me personally, I really didn't like the look of the Mafex Superman figure with the overly bright skin tone and the grumpy look, coupled with the fact my figure doesn't stand very well and it's on the flimsier side as well. And to me, even though Mafex has more accessories, in this case, I'd prefer having only one accessory but is vastly different from the other than to have 3 accessories that almost look like one another with just a few tweaks. But once again, this is only picking a figure between these 2. In my humble opinion, I do not think any of these 2 figures managed to capture the likeness of the character from the movie. It's not very screen accurate, and both face sculpts doesn't have much resemblance to the actor himself. So if I had a choice between these 2 figures, then I'd pick the S.H Figuarts Superman, and the Mafex figure goes back in the box. Even though the neck length is a bit of an issue for me, it is the lesser of 2 evils. Once again, this is only based on my humble opinion, and I know some of you have stated in the comment section that you guys prefer the Mafex figure, and that is totally fine. Everyone is entitled to their own opinion, but I still like to know your thoughts about these figures in the comment section down below. Did this video change your views on the Mafex figure, or are you still standing by it? I'd like to hear them. And with that all said, that concludes today's episode. I still hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it helpful in some ways. If you did, please help leave a like on the video, and if you're new, don't forget to subscribe for more content in the future. Thank you all very much again for watching and for all your support, and I hope you guys are embracing your inner geek and having a great week. Stay awesome, take care, and I'll see you guys at the next video.
Click here for video 1. Click here for video 2. Click here to subscribe. Click it. Thank you for watching. Arigato. Thank you.